Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. I hope you guys are all doing well. Hope this show finds you in great spirits. We're back again. We got some updates. We got something we got to talk about, and this is still breaking as we speak. I'm getting a lot of stuff, kind of flooding at me right now. I'm trying to get as much information as I can right now as we speak because it has been breaking for the past hour or so. But, I had to do that other live. It was breaking as we were about to go live, talking about Sebastian Rogers. And now we got some updates revolving around this. This is absolutely crazy. There has been multiple casualties. This is an absolute terrible tragedy. And this is just days into school. Can I just say that really quick? Do you realize how crazy this is? That we are literally just days into the start of a school year and we already have something like this. The fact that I even said that in that phrase, in those words, that I'm saying that we are already having one when we shouldn't even be having these doggone things in the first doggone place. All right. But it's absolutely a travesty that we're back again with another tragedy like this at a high school. All right, I'm putting the music back on. But still, this is very frustrating to me, okay? It angers me. It burns my cookies, as I like to say, all right? Because I want to use four-letter words, but I know kids are in earshot as you guys are getting ready for your day or spending time with your littles. So I got to be somewhat PG here. It just angers me, guys. All right. So we got to get into this, but do me a favor. As I said before, hit that like button down below, crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on TT, because we're live on TT as well. Hit that, hit that reaction button. Give me some hearts. All that stuff. That'd be greatly appreciated. Please do not forget, if you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, and the Tiki and the TT, please do me a favor. Hit that join button down below. Go hit that subscribe button on my main channel, on my YouTube channel, on YT. Go over there, The Pascal Show, crush it. Go over to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips, okay? Crush that subscribe button over there as well. That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Don't forget, you can support the channel simply by hitting that join button down below. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that join button down below. Show some love. Go over there. Do what it do over there too. And you can also check out Patreon, patreon.com/The Pascal Show. Go over there and check out merch, which I'll share with you guys in a little bit. I got a merch page. We got some really great Halloween stuff that we just came out with, and we got more stuff getting added on every single week. So I'm very excited to share with you guys all of that stuff as well. Okay, let us get into some things. Okay, guys. Now, if you guys are late to the party like we are on this live, okay? Again, I appreciate you guys spending the time with me because I know you could be hopping on any other platform right now watching it with thousands of other people. But from what we understand, that there has been a mass tragedy. Let me just share this with you guys, okay? There has been a mass tragedy at a high school, okay? Apalachee High, okay? In Georgia. Now, what is very interesting is in Winder, Georgia. What's very interesting about this and what's so tragic about this is that there have been multiple casualties already, all right, which we are going to get into. There's a breakdown here. We got some live feeds going on. Helicopters are still going around trying to find if there's other things going on. If there are, they have one, assailant that has been captured, but we don't know. They don't know if there is more than just one. So let's get into this because there's a lot to break down and a lot to discuss, okay, before we get into the live feed and everything, okay? Just a little bit. What we know so far, they've been kind of updating it on this page, okay, over and over and over again as they get more information, okay? So on this page, they say what we know so far. Casualties have been reported at Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia, where law enforcement agencies are responding to a reported active tragedy. We got to use these code words, unfortunately. According to the Barrow County Sheriff's Office, the numbers and current conditions of the victims are unknown. I heard in upwards of 3 when I went live, there were 3 teachers that were actually hit. 3 of them, guys. 3 teachers that were actually hit by this assailant or possibly assailants. They say a suspect is in custody right now, but there could be more, right? But they say video from outside the school shows several ambulances, which we're going to see a lot of that here in a second, and a large active police presence. A source at a local hospital tells CNN they are receiving patients with GSWs. I have to use that, or pew-pew wounds. I hate that phrase too, but you know what I mean, guys, all right? Related to this actual incident. So patients are showing up in the hospital, okay, from this school. Now I'm going to go down a little bit here, all right? Let's see here. So this is as of an hour ago, all right? Right when we were about live, okay? So it says students cleared to leave high school building according to the county school system. So they said that students are being cleared to leave the building and parents have been notified to pick them up at the Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia, where the state police tell CNN, the article I'm reading here, they responded to an active scene. The school system said students in need of transportation will have it provided. System officials will not elaborate on what happened, which is annoying, right? So they're not telling us exactly what went down or what could have possibly went down. Video from outside the school shows several ambulances and active police presence, which we already know. Let's move up a little bit and see what's going on. Okay, so it says here about 49 minutes ago, casualties reported at Georgia High School, and suspect is in custody, sheriff says. One person is in custody, and casualties have been reported at the Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia, where multiple law enforcement agencies, fire and emergency emergency services personnel were dispatched to a reported active tragedy. Okay. At the time of this release, one suspect is in custody. Casualties have been reported. However, details on the number of their conditions is not available at this time, the release said. Authorities were dispatched around 10:23 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, according to the release. This is an ongoing situation, which they, of course, will always say to the news when they don't have a whole lot to say yet. Now, Biden, okay, our president, Biden has been briefed on the reporting, okay, on this reported tragedy at this high school, all right, and they say the administration will continue coordinating with federal, state, and local officials as we receive more information, and that is according a statement made by the White House, okay? Now, apparently there's a new update. Now they're saying at least 2 have lost their life in Georgia, in this Georgia high school tragedy. At least 2 people were unalived in this tragedy at this high school on Wednesday. A law enforcement source briefed on the latest from the scene told CNN. One person is in custody, according to a statement from the Barrow County Sheriff's Office. All right, guys. So we got a little bit of information here. Obviously, there was a mass tragedy here. They're saying people have been brought in. I'm assuming many have been injured. I've heard teachers were actually hit and all that as well, which is absolutely just devastating. You know, teachers, students, you name it, were actually hurt in this whole tragedy here. But let me go over to CBS here, and they had something that I wanted to share with you guys. They were just about to go live with some breaking news revolving around this. So let's take a look at this, shall we?
Here's your headline at this hour. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation and the local sheriff there confirm a shooting at that school and casualties. They also confirm one suspect is in custody. Now, let's take you back in time as we look at some of the video that our partners have been able to get from that scene. The school went on lockdown quickly after the first calls came out of that high school around 10:23 a.m. Georgia time. Police and emergency personnel raced to the scene as that school quickly went on that lockdown. Then dozens of police units, ambulances surrounded the school. We've even seen video of helicopters landing there. Students also taken to a football stadium where it appears there's a track facility to sort of corral all of those students in one area. Reporters on the scene tell us that multiple ambulances have taken victims to trauma units nearby. Now, that same reporter saying more than one medical helicopter also taking victims to a trauma center. We can tell you there is a response from leadership there in the state of Georgia. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, looking at video just like you are looking at here on the stream, and moments ago directed all state resources to respond to aid in this incident. We also know interagency cooperation continues with the FBI. The feds are on this one. They are coordinating in that response at the high school. Again, this is at Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia, about 50 miles away from Atlanta. And that's where we find CBS News reporter Jared Eggleston. He's been live on this scene for about an hour. So our eyes have been on ambulances. We've been hearing the reports of helicopters. Just how many ambulances have you seen coming and going from that scene?
Read, over the last hour or so, ambulances, I would say dozens, 2 or 3 dozen ambulances have been coming and going from this scene here. That has sort of died down.
Hold on. 2 to 3 dozen ambulances have shown up for this. Now, I'm also wondering, from this report, obviously there's a lot going on here. I'm sure they all showed up just in case, but I'm wondering how many of those ambulances actually were filled with people, right? And how many of them went back empty-handed. I'm hoping a whole lot of them went back to the hospital empty-handed, these ambulances. But at the same time, I mean, this is pretty bad. You see, and we're going to see in a second, all the footage of the kids just piling out, just flooding out the school, going out into the football fields and all that stuff. I mean, it's crazy, right? But he's saying more than just a dozen, guys, of ambulances showing up to this. I get it, being prepared for anything, being prepared for the worst, but I'm wondering how many people actually got injured. We're hearing 2 casualties so far, 2 of them, but how many are actually injured here? And who is this person? Who is this suspect? That's the other thing I'd like to know too. Let's continue.
Within the last 15 minutes or so, but you mentioned those medical helicopters. That one that I saw circling when I first got here landed, but it's still here. And then the other one that was circling also left. But there is still a significant police presence here, and also a significant parent preference. One of the parents telling me that she went over to the football field to try to get her student, and that she was having trouble. The school is still trying to count these students. So as you know, in these very fluid breaking news situations, it's a lot of chaos and a lot of people just searching for answers. Those people who are really searching for answers right now are the parents who are just trying to reunite with their loved ones, their students.
And Jared, we're seeing on the screen those ambulances right there. And just a second ago, we saw one person being loaded onto that.
Sorry, guys.
That ambulance. We want to be clear to our viewers who are watching all over the world right now on CBS News 24/7. We do not know what casualties mean in this case. We do not know if any of the victims of this shooting are teachers or students. That all is information that is yet to come. But right there, you see community members there, one person taking off his shirt to put on one of the persons who's sitting there with a blanket over them. Also, we're seeing right now, Jared, on the screen, emergency personnel going into that school. Others gathered right there by a stretcher underneath the Georgia and the American flag flying. We know in these cases that every time we hear of a bullet flying in a school, this is somebody that's involved. That's no doubt got to be the heartbeat of all of these parents who are coming to the scene. Where are the parents right now? What are they being told about getting their students out of that school?
Well, initially, when I got here, I was along the sidewalk right in front of the school where a lot of the media has gathered, and it was just swarmed with parents. A lot of them even left their cars as they just rushed towards the school. A lot of the parents have moved over towards the football stadium over here so that they...
Real quick, guys. Okay, so on Shannon, on the TT, yes. Okay, just so you know, for those of y'all who are late to the party, okay, for those of y'all, all y'all that are watching on multiple platforms, again, I appreciate you guys spending the time with me. It means the world to me. First, the suspect or the suspect has been detained, okay? So that is good news. But I think this person may have done a whole lot of damage before they were actually detained. More than dozens of people or of ambulances actually showed up to the actual high school, which I understand is a high school. It's a lot of people, period. But they're saying 2 people have lost their life. Okay. Now I'm hearing that 4 have been injured. But the numbers could be going up even more. And you also got to remember, some of these people may have been injured due to the rush of running out of the school. They may have hurt, twisted their ankle, so on and so forth. Some of these injuries could be inflicted just from running away. I just want to make that abundantly clear. We've heard a lot of situations where people have been, been taken to the hospital for injuries that were because of trying to run out, right? Trying to run away. Some people get trampled on, so on and so forth. Those things do happen, especially when there's a lot of concern and there's a scare going on, like something like this. And again, how many times are we going to go through this till we say out loud in unison that this is enough, that enough is enough? How many more? How many more? I'm gonna continue playing, but I'm asking the whole fam, everybody who's watching on all these platforms, what is going on? And when are we all gonna say enough is enough? Apparently, there's a press conference. We're gonna look at that. Thank you, Crystal on TT. I'll take a look at that here in a second. But that is something we need to start talking about as soon as possible. And you know what? Maybe this is a conversation that needs to be brought up in the debates that are happening next Tuesday. Just saying, maybe it's something that we need to talk about because this is getting ridiculous. Let's continue on. I'll look for that press conference.
They could be reunited. But as I said, a lot of the parents are still kind of rushing to the scene. I would say for about a mile or 2 radius around the school, parents are just ditching their cars on side streets, on areas where you wouldn't normally park a car that's an active roadway, and rushing over to that football stadium to try to get answers. I do know that the students have been evacuated out there, and the school district says that they are actively working to reunite the students and the families.
Okay, so let me get this press conference up. Just bless me with a little bit of time. Grant me some grace here. Okay, I'm going to pull this up. All right, so that we have it. Okay, just uno momento, por favor. Again, I appreciate you guys all being here on all these platforms. It means the world to me. Please do me a solid, okay? Please do me a solid. Hit that like button down below. Show some love. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms and all that. This is just absolutely insane. But again, this is a tale as old as time. I mean, it's frustrating. You know, all jokes aside, this is getting old. This is getting really old, y'all. And we talk about it more than I'd like to. Way more than I'd like to. Okay. Hold on. I'm trying to get it up to date because it started a little bit ago. Just a few minutes ago. Hold on, guys. And if you guys are wanting to see the presser, please go over to my YT, the Pascal Show. If you're watching on the TT, go over there, please and thank you. That'd be greatly appreciated. All right. I'll be showing that right about now.
Large police presence. You're talking hundreds of response.
Come on. Okay, here we go.
You need a mic check? Deja, can you hear the mic? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Winder, Barrow County. Thank you.
Well, we got 2 minutes.
Sorry, Mario, por mover. Dale, papá, tranquilo. No te panes, que eso pasa. Los micrófonos son gruesos y esto pasa.
What he said. Absolutely. I don't know what he said. It was in Spanish. Okay. We're going to get started here. It's going to start any second now.
All right,
Okay.
Good afternoon.
There we go.
My name is Sheriff Judge Smith. I'm the Sheriff of Bexar County Sheriff's Office. We're standing on the campus of Apalachee High School here at Bexar County Schools. First and foremost, I want to lift up our community. I want to give our sympathies to our community, our school system, our kids, our parents that had to witness this today.
Yeah.
Obviously, what you see behind us is an evil thing today. At about 9:30 this morning, we received the first call that there was an active shooter in on this campus. We're not releasing any information as far as injuries, but we have multiple injuries. This is a very, very fluid investigation. It's very early. And I have asked the assistance of the GBI and the agencies here behind me today, and there are multiple agencies that responded this morning to help us and help the sheriff's office. We do have a suspect in custody.
What's his name?
And we are asking for your patience as the media to please let us get the facts that we need to make sure we get this right. Again, I've asked the GBI to help us, the sheriff's office, to help us along with this. I know this is not what you want to hear, but I'm not going to answer questions after this is over with. But I wanted to give you the respect and our community respect to let them know what was going on initially. We're in the process of reunifying our students with their parents. Obviously, that's chaotic, but we want to be respectful of them and their privacy as well. I want to thank the state, the federal agencies, the local agencies that showed up today. As you can see, the multiple EMS and fire from other agencies that responded today. Again, I ask that you lift up Bexar County Schools, lift up Apalachee, lift up our agencies. This is going to take multiple days for us to get answers as to what happened and why this happened. But I wanted to give you a statement. It is our hope, in conjunction with these people behind us, that we can give you another statement around 4 o'clock, because I know you have to go back on the air. That is my hope. But I wanted to be fluid with you all, understanding that it's fluid as well with this investigation.
Another press conference at 4 o'clock.
I appreciate you being patient with us. Again, it's very active and is ever developing. Every minute is developing on what we're finding. So we're going to have releases from other schools. Again, we ask that you be patient with us. Please be patient with us. And hopefully I can give you more information or more better information if you will, this afternoon. Thank you all for coming out here. We'll be back shortly, okay?
Sheriff, it's been widely reported that people are dead. Is that true?
I'm not releasing any information. We have multiple injuries. I'm not releasing any information. Guys, I'm not going to answer any more questions. It's time, okay? Thank you.
Okay. So
let everyone know that as a sheriff right now trying to get the students back,
sorry guys,
with their families. We will be holding a
it's tripping
news conference at 4 o'clock. If you're not already following us on Twitter, X, make sure you're following us. We'll be providing updates then. I know there are a lot of details, investigative details. You want more information. That is what the investigators are actively working on right now. You can add.
Yeah, so the idea will be back here at 4 o'clock, but keep an eye on our social media. If that changes, you'll know it. We'll be able to address, hopefully answer more questions for you. Okay?
That's interesting.
Be in a position to give you more answers. We'll just have to see how things
We
go.
just realized this was happening. Tell us how many people, what you know about that.
We're not in any kind of position.
It's not giving any information.
Comment we'll leave it at that. By 4 o'clock, we hope to have a better picture, a bigger, so you can better comprehend what's going on. Okay, we really appreciate
Interesting.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
autoridades no quisieron dar más información con respecto a
Okay. Yeah, ay Dios mío, indeed. So here's the thing. All right. This was interesting. That was interesting, because they're sitting there going, we need more time, to assess everything. We can't give you any answers right now. Even the reporters are asking about any casualties, which we just reported that there were 2 casualties. And the sheriff here is sitting here saying, we can't disclose any of that information right now. So they're not. So there's some sort of leak that was going on, because we're hearing 2 injured, 2 unalived, and 4 injured thus far. Now he says there has been multiple injuries. Multiple. And again, that could be everything from somebody twisting their ankle, running out of the school, to someone actually hit by a bullet. That is still something you have to put in consideration. It's a wide range, okay? It's a wide range of different things, okay? So put that in consideration really quick so you guys know, all right? As far as the injuries go. But it's interesting that he's not willing to give us much information about what happened. And then he also said it's going to take several days. Why is it going to take several days for him to find out what actually happened? If this monster, if the assailant is arrested and has been detained, hopefully he starts squawking, right? Don't we all hope that he starts squawking here? I mean, don't we? Let's be real. Don't we all hope that he's going to sit there and go, okay, I did it because of this, this, and this. In fact, I'm sitting here, I'm waiting for a manifesto. I want to keep a buck. I want to keep it real. I'm waiting for a manifesto. They all got a manifesto at some point. Okay. In fact, that's another conversation that we need to have as well. Okay. But I've heard different reportings of different casualties or different amounts of casualties. Right? I heard 3 before we even went live, but now we're hearing 2. But then we go over here for this press conference, and he's not telling us bupkis. He's just sitting there going, we need some time to get ready, because it's going to be many days before we're ready to really talk about this. So if you all just bless us with a little bit more time, it's going to be a couple days before we understand everything, because we want to get all the information right, if you don't mind. And that's fine. But I know for a fact those family members, those parents of that high school are going to want to have answers lickety split, toots sweet. Am I right or am I right? So that's very interesting indeed. Okay. Yes, New England. Yes, the Tennessee. Yeah, a 90-paged manifesto. Yeah, we need to talk about that. That was planned on my roster for today. Okay, to talk about that very manifesto. Okay, but now we got, isn't that wild? I was about to talk about a completely different tragedy that happened to all those beautiful kids, and now we're doing another. Now we got another one, and now they're saying at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, they're going to have a press conference to break everything down and let us know exactly what's going on. Hold on. We're not done yet. Okay. We ain't done yet. The conversation ain't done yet. Okay. We still out here. Okay. We still out here trying to figure all this out as well. But I'm going to go back. Okay. Because I'm going to go over to ABC. I want to see what ABC has to say about this coverage as well, because I'm sure it's very interesting too. Ooh, looks like we got some eyewitnesses speaking. Hold on.
His door and locking the door.
Finally,
Hold
on. Sorry, guys. Hold on. I'm going to move this back.
toward the school than walking away from the school. Some were able to get in contact with their kids, but then had to pull back. Another parent was waiting with them, or they needed to go pick up another child in another situation. Parents have work, other family members to look out for at this point. But as Fred said, just a sea of law enforcement and emergency response personnel in the area around Apalachee High School in Barrow County in Winder. There is a traffic situation they're trying to keep an eye on to make sure that ambulances can come and go, because as I said, it's been about 3 hours since this started, and it's unclear whether students even had time to pick up their backpack or their lunch or a water bottle, and what they are able to access from the track right now as they reunite with their friends and family and try to get a sense of what happened this morning inside Apalachee High School.
And Linda, our reporters have been talking to parents out there who raced to talk to their children at the situation. We spoke to a mother who talked to her child about what they saw.
Oh, my child was in his classroom, and so the shooter was shooting across from the classroom. So his coach had ended up blocking his door and locking the door to prevent the shooter from coming in his classroom. So, yes. Shock. I'm shocked because, I mean, this is Barrow County and stuff like this never happens here. So it's shocking. I mean, like, a lot of kids are in shock and crying, and parents, you know, because we didn't think this would ever happen here.
Now, here's the thing. Let's keep it real, okay? This mother is sitting here going, I'm in shock. Families are all in shock because they really do believe, how could this ever happen here? Now, isn't that the same thing that we hear a lot? Isn't that the same thing that we hear a lot in all these tragedies, in these mass tragedies? Family members, students, teachers, etc., will sit there and go, I didn't expect this to ever happen in my school. I didn't expect this to ever happen at our mall. I didn't expect this to ever happen at our church. Let's be real, though. We're at that place now where it should basically be considered expected now. Because let's be real. It's the same old movie. It's the same old movie starring the same old weapon. Okay? Same old star. Okay? You know exactly what you're going to get from a Tom Cruise movie. All right? You know what it is. Okay? Or, you know, before the Mission Impossible stuff, you know, it's the formula. Good guy, good at what he does. He has some issues, or, you know, he has some sort of a challenge that he has to overcome. He overcomes the challenge, still maintains being a good guy, and gets the girl, right? Same thing with these things. It's just a different title. It's a different school, right? Same story, same timeline, same breakdown. Even the same lead actor. That AK. That AK. Still out here. Still the star of the show. Only difference is that the title of the movie or the title of the school changes. We need to be at a new place in our mindsets now, that this should now just be expected. And I hate to say that. I would love to live in a utopian world where everything is copacetic, everything's raining gumdrops and blossoming daffodils, and we all happy eating ice cream cones with, you know, with sprinkles and cherries on top. But unfortunately, we don't live in that world, y'all. We don't have that privilege anymore. The veil of safety needs to be ripped off of all of our faces. It's for real. It needs to be ripped right off, and we need to wake the F up. Now, I'm not sitting here saying every student, every teacher needs to be suited and booted, and, you know, there's got to be security, you know, up the wazoo. I'm not saying that. I don't have the answer for that. But I do know that a mother's reaction, and no disrespect to the mother here, that said, we're just shocked. This should not be shock anymore. These are happening in the most random of schools, places that you never would ever think would ever happen. Let's be real. We were just talking about the Tennessee monster. Apparently, they got a little book that they wrote, right? They got a little book that they wrote too, right? That they left behind. And they just walked into a school, an elementary school filled with little kids and did this. And again, it's a situation of, I'm so shocked. I never thought this would ever happen to my school, to my kids' school. But guess what? We hear that same reaction over and over and over again. And there's got to be a moment where we all come together as a country, as a world, and realize that we have been way past enough is enough. We need to do something now. We need to do something as soon as possible. And I get it, Second Amendments and all that stuff, my gun, my rights. I get all that stuff. You know what? Do you, boo-boo? Do you? But there's got to be something else out here that needs to be implemented as soon as possible, because our kids are getting not only dropping like flies because of these weapons that are being brought into the schools, but also our kids are leaving with serious trauma, PTSD, and they didn't go to NAM. They didn't go overseas. They weren't deployed, fighting for Uncle Sam or nothing. They're just going to school. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, and that needs to stop. This is like an infectious disease that just keeps going on, and it keeps, you know what I mean? It hits it traumatizes one person, and it moves on, and it moves on, and it moves on. And then that person, there's somebody in that group that goes, maybe I can do that too. And then what happens? We have something like Apalachee High School again. It's got to stop. We got to figure out something. And it's got to be people on both sides of the aisle. Forget red, forget blue, forget what your thoughts on things and what sounds right because you fight for one, or you represent one political party. F all that. We need to be reaching across the aisle together in unison and figuring some things out, because I'm worried about my own kid. Okay? My future kids going to school. We shouldn't have that worry. Period. All right. I'm getting down off my soapbox. Lo siento. I'm just so sorry. I'm so tired of hearing about this, and it breaks my heart every time. But let's continue on. Let's hear what she got to say.
And when you hear that, it gives you just a feeling of how intense the situation is. You rush there to see if your children are okay, and there's just so much going on, including this live view right here of the intense police presence in Apalachee High School there in Winder, Georgia, in Barrow County. And you see a lot of law enforcement still there. The Sheriff's Department said something I found very interesting. This is developing every second of every minute. They're still learning information. Courtney Francisco told us a short while ago that the suspect has been neutralized. And she didn't say if there was more than one suspect in this situation, but we are working to get more information. Throughout this whole ordeal, as you've seen parents go to the school, you've seen a lot of police activity, except for one piece of video we showed you earlier. You haven't seen a lot of intense activity with law enforcement there. One video segment we showed you, they were crouched down right by the building, moving across the grass. You saw that, but for the most part, everything has been relatively calm on the outside. However, what you know for sure is no one is that calm on the inside when you go through something like this.
And everyone has a job to do, and they know what their job is in this moment. But I know what you're saying.
Hold on, I gotta pause this, because somebody said on TikTok, and I don't know if this is true, but they're now saying, or this is what someone said on TikTok, and I'm wondering if this is accurate. And maybe fam, if you're watching, fam that's watching on YouTube, let me know if this is correct. 4 unalived, 30 injured. 30. I don't know if that's entirely true, but that definitely caught my eye. Okay. I'm going to check, but I don't know if that's entirely true. But I remember that there was so many, we've done so many mass casualties, mass tragedies like this, and there'll be wild numbers that come out and then it gets diminished. Right. So I'm gonna look that up. Okay, so just grant me some grace. I'm gonna play this for you guys. Okay, let me just see what I find.
And there hasn't been sort of a standoff view or something like that. So however the shooter was neutralized, it must have happened pretty quickly for them to appear from the outside, to not be running around and the kind of scene that Fred was just describing. But reflecting on what the mother said that we spoke to just moments ago, saying you never thought it would happen here. And that's what so.
Hold on. I got to pause this. Wow. Yeah, it's true. Take a look at this. Sources. This is according to sources. All right. Again, breaking. This is according to sources, and this was put up about a minute ago. So shout out to Gail on the TikTok. What's up? Okay, Gail. I see you. All right. But let's take a look at this. Okay. Just so you guys know, at least 4 unalived and about 30 injured. What the hell? 30 of them. 30. So when they said several dozen of ambulances showed up, now I can see why 30. Now I can see why so many ambulances showed up. 30 injured. 4 unalive. Okay, let's take a look at this article or this update. It's from CNN. Okay. And they say sources. So we still got to take it with a grain of salt to be completely real. All right. Sources say that, and then it could be 15 people injured and 2 gone. Okay. But let's look at this. At least 4 people are believed to have been unalived, and approximately 30 more were injured in this tragedy at Apalachee High School. Okay. Although it's unclear how many of the injuries are from GSWs, pew wounds, okay, according to law enforcement sources. This information is preliminary and is subject to change, okay? A suspect who is of student age is in custody, but it's unclear if the person actually attends the school. That's important too. All schools in the district were placed in lockdown, and police were sent out of an abundance of caution to all district high schools, but there are no reports of secondary incidents or scenes according to the sources. Now, this is very important though. I want to say this again. 30, and let me blow this up so you guys can see this on the YT. All right. But it's saying, according to sources, and they say that this information is preliminary and is subject to change. But for what we know right now, they are saying 30 or more. 30 more were injured. 4 people have lost their lives. And they say it's unclear how many of these injuries are actually that of a GSW. And I think that's very important to understand. Like I said earlier, we hear about injuries, and it could be somebody who twisted an ankle, twisted a knee, fell down, ran into a wall, tripped, etc. There's so many different things. Like I said, people are running for their lives. Okay, so that somebody could have been trampled upon during the scurry of trying to seek shelter or to seek refuge. Okay, getting out of the school. Something could actually happen where you trip, you fall down a flight of stairs. Anything is possible. So this could all be from a twisted ankle, a busted lip, etc., just from trying to run away from the actual trigger man. Okay? Just want to make that abundantly clear, just so you guys know. Okay? But again, they say this information is preliminary and subject to change. Regardless, that's a lot of people that have been injured. See, now I can understand a little bit now why law enforcement came out and said, we have a lot to look into, and this may take some time to get everything correct, because I'm sure it's a cluster F out there. You're just seeing a bunch of people hurt and, blood everywhere and all that stuff. I can understand them being like, hey, we need to wait for the dust to settle just a tiny bit to kind of understand exactly what happened here and all that. But still, we don't know what actually happened inside the school, except the fact that there was a phone call that was made, and that's it. Okay, that's crazy and scary as hell. Okay, let me grab some of these super chats and these members chats really quick. I'm going to do a couple of them really quick. Okay, Natasha B, thank you so much for being a member for the past 9 months. I'm sick of conversations. I want change. No kid should have to live like this. I absolutely agree, 110%. Ladybug, thank you so much for being a member for the past 23 months. Woo! Almost 2 years. Damn! Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. OMG, meanwhile, in Canada, there's a huge debate on and opposition to having police and or liaisons in our schools to hopefully avoid this type of thing. Yeah, I mean, there's a conversation right now. There's a whole debate right now talking about phones, allowing kids to have phones in the schools. And I'm like, well, when you have incidents like this, hell yeah, let the kids have their phones. Okay, that's a whole debate that's going on right now. Here on the other side of right underneath you. Okay, Ladybug, and it's crazy, but that's a conversation that we are actually having indeed. Charlie Miller, thank you so much for being a member for the past 26 months. I appreciate it. Grace, thank you so much for being a member for the past 14 months. It's so sad that our kids can't even be safe at school nowadays. I agree. Hug your babies a little tighter tonight. Even the teens that might not want one. Oh, they do. They want one. They act like they don't, but they appreciate it later. Trust and believe, okay? So yes, hug your kids tonight, okay? Hug your kids every day, dag nabbit, okay? Even besides these tragedies, remember to cherish your loved ones, period, okay? Period. That should always be the number one thing in your mind, your family, right? Showing them love, period, right? Mimi, thank you so much for the super sticker. Charlie Miller, thank you so much. Teachers and TAs must have a fireman's mindset going into a burning house. Yeah, you're right. Anything can happen. We know that, so we also know we got a job to do. Absolutely. You're right. You're basically walking into the fray. Anything's possible at these schools now, right? Schools have turned into the Wild Wild West, it feels like. And I'm not talking about Will Smith. But he would slap the ish out of it. Never mind. But you get what I'm saying. All right. E or L, thank you so much. Okay. As of July 11th, 2024, 35 school tragedies, now 36 in the U.S., which includes incidents at both K through 12 schools and college campuses in 2023. So in 2023, it was 82. That's insane. That's insane. Charlie, again, thank you. This is one reason for the teacher shortage in the USA. Ain't that the doggone truth? Ain't that about a shut your mouth? Okay. Crazy, right? But let me see. I'm going to refresh this to see if there's any more updates. So far, they're saying, at least you guys can see that, at least 4 unalive, 30 injured. Insane. We're going to go back to this, though. Okay? We're going to go back to this and see what else they got for us.
Many people are dealing with now. Can't believe this happened here at our school, at Apalachee High School in Barrow County and Winder.
Crazy.
Again, we can tell you that 3 people have been shot and wounded. 2 are getting treatment in the area, 1 in Winder, in Barrow County area, 1 in Gainesville at Northeast Georgia Medical Center, another airlifted to Grady Hospital. We have seen GBI pull up and arrive at Grady Hospital to be around the shooting victim there. We have seen ambulances come in and out and respond to the crowds outside the track at the high school. That's where students were evacuated right away. We have seen car after car after car pull up as parents walk and run and get there as quickly as they can to the school. Some telling us that they were able to hug their child, a hug like they've never given their child before, make contact with their child.
Yeah, you can imagine the minute that parent saw their child, they were doing more than hugging that child, holding on to them more than likely. You've been listening to our ABC station out of Atlanta, Georgia, WSB. They are carrying pictures now of an earlier scene where a mass shooting has taken place at Apalachee High School there in Winder, Georgia. That's about an hour outside of Atlanta. We can tell you right now, the sheriff just held a press conference confirming that a suspect is in custody. Would not confirm casualties, but our source is telling us there has been a loss of life. We can confirm that video did capture a life flight helicopter bringing at least one patient out of there, and that a local area hospital has been treating other patients with gunshot wounds. We are following all the latest development here as we're monitoring our local station and our sources bringing us information on what we can tell you, as this really, we don't have a lot at this point with regard to who the shooter is, what the motive was here. All we can tell you, sadly, is that after a month of these students being in school, we are already talking about our first mass shooting of the school year. We're going to take a quick break. We have a lot more news and breaking.
But that's sad. You got people sitting here saying the first mass tragedy of the school year. Like we're supposed to get ready. Like this is like an ongoing seasonal thing, right? It's football season. This is just the first game of the year. Like, come on, y'all. We are so desensitized that we're at this point. We're here. We've come to this place of absolute, in my personal opinion, oblivion. That we just sit here and go, oh yeah, it's just another cat. It's just another one. Just another one as usual. Let's just keep it moving. That's ridiculous, guys. Hamburger. Let us continue.
Occurred, possibly including a teacher. The sheriff came out moments ago there, the Barrow County Sheriff, saying, Judd Smith, saying he would not confirm the deaths, that there are multiple injuries. But as I said, a number of media outlets reporting that there have been individuals that have been killed. We don't know anything about a motive or a suspect yet. We can just tell you that everything unfolded at 9:30 a.m. this morning.
Everything unfolded at 9:30 a.m. this morning. Law enforcement is not disclosing a whole lot of information right now. What we have heard about the casualties, that is only just what we're hearing from sources. They are not fully confirmed. Okay, just to make that abundantly clear, has not been confirmed by anyone. All right, except from just sources. So we haven't heard that from law enforcement. Okay, there are multiple people that have been injured, whether that's GSWs or not. There is a suspect that has been arrested. They have been detained because we don't know who this person is, right? We don't know if this person is a man or a woman. We don't know what they identify as, nothing, okay? All we know is that there's somebody who has been arrested. But what is the motive? What is the reason? What is their name? Who they be? I will say this too. Be careful what you see on X, because X is out here saying stupid stuff that's not true, okay? Throwing up photos and stuff. That is not the person and all that. Just so you know, all right? There's a lot of BS that's floating around, so be very cautious on what you look at on X at least, okay? But again, information that we have right now is minimal, okay? Minimal. And that's trash.
When law enforcement got calls of an active shooter. With me now, our Faith Abube. She operates out of Atlanta, Georgia. As soon as this went down, she headed to the scene there. Faith, as you arrived, have you been able to talk to anybody, get a sense of what it's like there on high school grounds right now?
Well, Kara, what struck me as we were pulling up to the scene here is just the number of vehicles that are just parked just along the way, about half a mile away from the school. Parents just parking anywhere they could on people's front lawns, on the side of the road, just rushing to the school to try to reunite with their kids, hopefully that their kids are okay. At this point, you can still see it's an active scene. You have law enforcement officers still here, their emergency vehicles still here, lights on and everything. The active shooter portion of this has now been contained at this point, but this investigation is just now beginning. The sheriff said this is still a fluid situation. They don't have a lot of concrete information to share at this point, other than the fact that there is one suspect that is in custody. This happened early this morning, just about a couple of hours after school started this morning. And we heard from one student who said that at one point they heard knocking on their classroom door. They thought that it may perhaps be, it might have been the shooter there. And the knocking just kept going and going, eventually stopped. They heard more gunshots and people screaming in the hallway. And so at this point, we're still waiting on details about how many casualties. Police have used the word casualties at this point. That could mean deaths, that could mean injuries. We don't know at this point how many people are affected by this in terms of the physical injuries, but we do know there are people who are being treated. At least one person was flown to the hospital, a level 1 trauma center, Grady Hospital in the Atlanta area. We're now about an hour away from Atlanta, northeast of Atlanta. And again, the scene is very active. Parents are just frantically just trying to find their kids, trying to call them, figure out where they are, making sure that they are safe at this point. Kara.
Got it. And Faith, I hope you can stay with us, but feel free. I'm going to bring Bob Boyce into the conversation here. If you are able to get any students or any other information, any live interviews, by all means, please bring them right to us. We're going to stay in rolling coverage. So, Bob, while Faith is working the story and working the scene there, we really don't have a lot of details at this point. But there are a number of agencies now there on the campus of that high school, starting clearly trying to gather as much evidence as possible for this investigation. Kind of take us through what's happening right now. There are still students there at the high school, so clearly they want to get every student matched up with friend, family, and off-campus grounds. But my guess is they are going through video cameras now, right inside those hallways, classrooms, on the outside, and then what other key parts of evidence will they be looking at if indeed it's true that this shooter was inside that school for a bit of time knocking on?
Actually, hold on.
Those details, those little points right there go to a timeline, and you have to put that together. Now,
they are going through video cameras now, right inside those hallways, classrooms, on the outside, and then what other key parts of evidence will they be looking at if indeed it's true that this shooter was inside that school for a bit of time, knocking on doors and opening fire?
So allegedly, they're saying that he was knocking on doors and then opening fire on whatever doors actually opened, which is actually really crazy if that's actually true, right? And there's, of course, not a whole lot being said, but I do want to share this with you guys. Like I said, I'm doing as much research live as we're going through this, listening to this live feed. And I'm going to jump to another feed here in just a little bit here too, just to see if there's any other reports of any kind as well. But this is something that's very interesting too. They're saying that there was heartbreaking text between boy and his mom that they show here in this article here, which is interesting. So heartbreaking text between boy and mom during this tragedy. So Aaron Clark received a text message from her son Ethan at around 10:23 a.m. on Wednesday, this morning, telling her that there was a school tragedy underway. You know, we got to use these code words. He wrote, "School right now. I'm scared. I'm not joking." She responds instantly, assuring him that she was leaving work. In a heartbreaking response, Ethan wrote, "I love you." So this is the clip right here. He says, school tragedy. I got to use the code words, RN right now. Okay. I'm scared. Please. I'm not joking. These are all separate text messages that he sent his own mama. Mama responds back saying, "I'm leaving work." And then he responds back saying, "I love you." Do you realize how terrifying that is? That's absolutely terrifying. Being the receiver of that text message, or even the person to be sending that text message. Think about that for a second. And you realize that this is something that we're seeing and hearing every single time something like this happens. It gets me choked up because I think about, like, you know, scary, guys. That's scary. So school shooting prompts heartbreaking text messages, which we already looked at. Now it says sheriff's office calls this an evil thing, calls this tragedy an evil thing. All right. So the officer, Judge Smith, spoke to the press outside of Apalachee High School. Okay. What you see behind us is an evil thing, he said. Smith said there are multiple people hurt, but did not specify how many. He called the situation very fluid and ongoing because, of course, I'm sure there's more people. I'm sure that they're finding throughout the entire school right now as we speak. And they do not have a suspect in custody. We do have a suspect in custody. I'm sorry, correction. And we are asking for patience to make sure we get this right. And I get it. They don't want to get anything messed up. They don't want to put out the wrong thing. And then later on, they can't come back from that and all that as well. Right. But this is very interesting. If the reports are true, if the eyewitness reports are true, this monster was going up to the doors at his school, knocking on classroom doors, and whoever opened that door, he opened fire. Unbelievable. Hold on, guys, because I want to pull up to see if there's anything else here. Real quick. Trying to see if there's, because I was hoping that maybe there was going to be like some sort of eyewitness, not only just one mom speaking about this, which of course I'm glad that they did have that mom speak, but you know, I'm waiting to hear if there's like any students have spoken out or anything of that sort. I know that they're going to be doing another press conference in, you know, about 2 hours from now, if I'm correct. But I'm going to play a little bit of this too, because this is just crazy. This is just absolutely crazy. I can't believe this is even real. But again, we're used to this stuff now, aren't we? It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hold on, guys. Pulling this up. Let's just see what this has.
2.5 miles just to try to lay some eyes on her neighbor's child, because that neighbor was about an hour away. We've talked with grandparents, parents, loved ones, again, neighbors. So this is really impacting the entire community out here, Jonathan.
Our Molly Oak live for us. Thank you so much for giving us an update. As Molly said, this is really what it has looked like for the last 3 or 4 hours, as police have again reiterated that this is still very much early. In fact, the sheriff said it may take several days for them to really get to the bottom of the initial answers as to what happened here.
That's right. And in our speaking with Molly, you know, we have been hearing different stories from family members and loved ones out there on campus. That neighbor that you heard Molly speak of, saying that the student she was there to just check on, to lay eyes on, being interviewed along with so many others right now by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. And that is just a piece of this investigation that will take days or weeks or months for law enforcement to shore everything together, to answer all of these questions, to dot all these I's and cross all these T's, to get answers for the community about what took place here today.
And again, the priority right now, according to the sheriff, of course, getting some of these parents who are at these schools waiting in traffic, perhaps, to get reunited with their students, getting them reunited. That, I mean, as a parent, you just obviously know that that is priority. You want to make sure that your child is okay. But as we're hearing, some 30 injured, you would assume that a good number of those are students. We don't know the breakdown of students, staff, teachers. But again, everyone in that school perhaps knows someone who might have been affected by this. This is not a huge school, 1,900 students, which is, of course, a big high school, but you would imagine that everyone perhaps knows someone who might have been affected by this.
Yeah, and when we talk about checking on your loved one, hearing from a text message or getting a phone call certainly doesn't feel like enough in a situation like this. People want to see and hug and hold their loved ones following something like this. And unfortunately, according to reporting that we are learning today, some people will not be able to do that tonight. CNN reporting 4 dead, about 30 injured. And again, these are numbers that we're continuing to watch because they have shifted some during the day. And we are working to get more concrete information, more details for you. But again, we are thinking that we may not get any information from the sheriff's office again until the 4 o'clock hour. That's about 3 hours from now as we're approaching, well, maybe two hours from now as we're approaching 2 o'clock here. And so again, we will be following that. We have several crews on the ground across Metro Atlanta working this story to get you answers because so many people are really just asking so many questions, why and how. And those are the things that law enforcement are working together. You see right here images from earlier in the day, the students that were out there on that football field, such a stark contrast from what they were likely seeing and experiencing not too long ago. The school year just starting, just finishing up the Labor Day holiday, football back in action. And this is such a stark contrast from what these students were probably so excited about on campus, living their lives. And now this has happened. And it's really
no doubt
an event that really truly changes you and shakes you.
Yeah, it really does. And you're right.
And I'm going to pause that really quick because we do have some updates or something else that just showed up. So again, guys, if you appreciate me breaking the news to you guys and giving you guys this update, please do me a favor, hit that like button down below, hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms as well. Okay. Of course, hit that follow button, follow, because I'll be doing a lot more of these TT lives. And of course, I'm always live. I'm always live on the YouTube. Okay. So show some love, hit that follow and all that stuff. Subscribe, follow, all that stuff. But we do have something I want to share with you guys. I don't know if this is the same story, but I think this is very interesting. And somebody asked on here, I know some of y'all are very late. Some of you guys might be late to the party today or right now, but there was a mass tragedy that just happened at this high school, Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia. Okay. They are saying CNN, a source from CNN is saying 4 people have lost their lives. 30 have been injured from this school. So that could be an array of different things from, you know, but they haven't really disclosed a whole lot. But somebody leaking some information out here saying that 4 have lost their lives. At the press conference, they did not tell us anything. They did not disclose not one damn thing to us. So that is something that I find very, very interesting. Now, who the suspect is, who's the kid that went in there and did this, don't know. What we do know is that this person, because we don't know if it's male or female, but this assailant is of high school age. So this person is a high school student. Are they a student of that school? They haven't confirmed that yet either. Okay. So we don't know everything yet, but there's going to be a press conference in about 2 hours to break everything down. Hopefully they'll have more information at that time too. It may just be breadcrumbs, but still breadcrumbs is better than nothing at all. Now, here's something I wanted to share with you guys, and this is another piece of information. And I don't know if this is from the text message thing I just told you guys about, the kid sending a text message to his mama and all that, but this is crazy too. Parent of child in nearby school says she dropped everything when she heard about this tragedy. Parents of students who attended Apalachee High School and nearby schools in the area are waiting to be told what happens next, after many rushed to the site after this tragedy to make sure their children were safe. So one parent told CNN's Isabel Rosales, hopefully I'm saying that right, that she was at work when she got a text that there was an active tragedy going on at the high school. So this is basically the same text message breakdown that we just talked about a second ago, but it's interesting to hear that she was nearby, okay, and she, dropped everything to rush to her kid, right? She said her child was at the elementary school next door. All schools in the district were placed on lockdown when the incident happened. The parent told CNN that she dropped everything and drove to the area where she had to park her car down the street and walk to make sure her child was okay. So the mother reports that there is one street that has schools on either side of the road. Many parents are parked along the road waiting to hear more information from officials. Of course, Sheriff Smith said during a news conference earlier that authorities are now in the process of reunifying parents and students. So I'm sure they're bringing or using a reunification type of location where families and kids can get back together, and so that they can go back home and, of course, deal with this trauma. Right? Deal with this terrible, terrible thing that has happened here. Okay. But like I said, this is wild stuff. Okay. Of course, they say FBI and ATF are on the scene. Okay. Which I think is good to know. And of course, they still say that 4 people unalive, 30 injured. So hopefully we'll find out more information as time goes on. Let's listen to a little bit more here as well.
I mean, you look at the football field students, they should be getting ready for a Friday night football game. They should be getting ready for a test perhaps, but they are in the middle of just a chaotic emergent situation that has really dealt a huge blow, not only to this school, but this entire community. As we know, every school in the district, at least at some point today, was on lockdown because of this. We heard from Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens not too long ago in a statement saying that he has bolstered security at a number of Atlanta public schools and also offering to send any of Atlanta's resources that way as well, knowing that when something like this happens, it no doubt affects the school and the surrounding community. But as a parent, as a student anywhere, you are affected by this.
Real quick, now there's a rumor that it's a female. Wow. That's the rumor. Okay. That's the rumor that it's a female. All right. Interesting indeed. Don't you think that it could be a female? No, I understand. If you guys can't hear it, I understand, because I don't have the on TT. I don't have the audio patched into the TT. I highly recommend you guys going over to my YouTube channel. Go check it out over there. That's where we're watching all the live stuff. I still need to figure out how to get this connected to what my rig is in here. Baby steps, we'll figure it out over time. But if you want to hear what's being said and what's being listened to, please go over to my YouTube channel. Okay, guys? But don't forget, hit that follow button here too, because I'll give you more updates here as well. Okay, guys? Appreciate you guys. All right, but let's continue on. So they're saying that it may be female. Interesting. Okay, look at the Washington Post. I'm going to take a look at that. Trust and believe right now.
Especially when it happens within your metro area in particular.
And we talked so much about the injuries and how it's impossible at this point to know without concrete information from law enforcement what those injury levels are. But I can't help but continue to go back to the mental health aspect for these students. Some of them already reporting from family members and friends with our Molly Oak that they heard the gunshots across the hall. Some of these students may never have even heard gunshots before. And this is something that will be etched in their brains for the rest of their lives now. And so we are certainly thinking of these students and sending them our strength and support, because this is something that is going to be dealt with as an ongoing issue for the remainder of the school year and for the remainder of their lives as these students try to figure out how to move forward, as well as the staff and the teachers and the administrators there. Your school family is your family. You're with these people day in and day out for months on end. And in a community like Winder, you get to know each other. You know that your neighbors, everyone knows each other. And it's unimaginable, as you mentioned, that so many people there will have some sort of connection to what unfolded today.
And you wonder if perhaps the person that you had class with or that you know well or a teacher is affected by this, because at this point we have not had any confirmation of the ages or the names or grade levels of any of the people who've been impacted. So for a lot of these students who are leaving today, they are left with just so many questions, left with heartbreak. But again, a lot of questions, wondering if perhaps their friend, someone they care about, someone they love, one of their teachers is one of those impacted and perhaps even dead from this tragedy.
Yeah, and it's hard to say at this point because we heard from one of the neighbors of a student that this may have taken place on the 10th grade hallway, but that student was a senior. And so it's even impossible with the limited information that we are getting on the ground to know who all may have been impacted. We don't know if there were staff members, teachers, students. We don't know the ratios of who may have been impacted here. So again, hopefully that is information that we will be able to bring to you in the next 2 hours or so when we.
Now, yeah, that's one thing that they haven't confirmed, of course. I mean, that's one of the main problems, right? We don't know who the person is. We don't know what the real casualties were there. We don't know the injuries, etc. Right? All the information is just kind of getting flown out here, and we can't really sit there and go, "Oh, this is solidified. This is absolutely 110% what's really going on." And I think that's really the big problem here. Okay, but this is very, very interesting. And of course, there's going to be a press conference in 2 hours from now, or, a little less than 2 hours from now. And for a fact, I'll be here to watch it with you guys as well. But let us take a look at this, okay? Because there's some updates on Washington Post, and thank you so much, Kick, for telling me to check this out, okay? I appreciate it. And again, we don't know the gender, okay, of this particular assailant. It could be anybody, okay? So let's just wait until the press conference to find out what actually is going on. Or if an eyewitness, okay, a student actually speaks out. That's one thing I'm very surprised about. I have yet to see any, whoa, I may have spoken too soon. Hold on. We may have something here, but I've been waiting to hear from a student here, okay? Or at least a staff member that was there. You know what I mean? Like, just seeing it. But let me show you guys this really quick, and then we're going to look at this thing, okay? Because we are a few minutes behind on that live that we're looking at here. So let's take a look at this. And the information is going to be flying out the gate right now, all right? So we already know about the suspect in custody, but this is just what's been said just about 6 minutes ago, all right? And this is all from live posts from the Washington Post. So the Barrow County coroner, okay, said in a phone interview, "We're still going classroom to classroom, and it's a big high school, looking for bodies. It's terrible. Please pray for us." That's from that is literally from the coroner. So they're still going classroom to classroom looking for bodies, y'all. Still. And apparently, yes, that's what they're alleging. That he went up and knocked on a door, and then they opened the door, and then he just started pulling. They started pulling the trigger. Whoever this person is, could be female, could be male, God only knows. Okay. Of course, the vice president and presidents, of course, the leaders have all gotten updates about all this. This was 21 minutes ago. Okay. They're saying that Sheriff Smith told reporters this is wrong, but there were multiple injuries as a result of the tragedy. But he likely wouldn't be releasing more information before 4 p.m., which we already know. Okay. He asked for patience from the community as they continue to investigate. This is going to take multiple days for us to get answers. This is what he said. We already heard that in the press conference. Okay. But what's interesting to me that caught my eye is the fact that the coroner is going school classroom by classroom, and he's sitting here saying that it is bad. Like, it's that bad. This kid, whoever this monster was, did some serious damage. I heard, and that's what we heard too, that this could be a senior of this school that actually came in and opened fire. But like I said, we don't know fully everything yet. Again, this happened in Winder, Georgia. The school is Apalachee High School. There's reports through sources 4 people were lost their lives and 30 have been injured. We are hearing reports from the actual county's coroner saying that it is bad. And if you got a coroner saying that, who has seen some things, you know it's bad. Okay? So Barrow County, Georgia is where it all went down. The coroner's going classroom to classroom trying to find remains. 30 people injured. 4 lost their lives. Y'all do the math. Who is the star of the show? It's called AK. Right? Or I'm sorry, it's called AR. I'm sorry. It's called AR. Correction. It's called that AR, baby. Okay? But let's continue on. We got a video here, or a little clip here. Hopefully I got it queued up properly. I think this is a student. We will find out. Oh, dang. Okay. Let's see what it says.
So then she took a peek outside, and then we heard repeatedly the banging again, and that's when we could identify it was.
Hold on.
Those injured was taken by medical
Rolling you back a
helicopter
little
or
bit.
life flight to Grady Hospital, which is a level 1 trauma center. So that would lead you to believe that this was a serious injury, obviously. But we again don't know the extent of that injury.
All right, we want to get back out to some sound that our Doug Richards has been gathering, speaking with family members and students out there on the ground. And we understand this information comes from a 10th grader who heard what went on today. Let's take a listen.
Okay, something.
It was just like a loud boom, as if a locker had slammed. So my teacher thought it was just like some kid acting foolish. So then she took a peek outside, and then we heard repeatedly the banging again, and that's when we could identify it was a gun. And then the hard lockdown was placed, and then we ran to the back of the classroom, turned off the lights. I was shaking, scared, and I didn't have my phone on me, and I couldn't communicate with my mom for half an hour. And I didn't know what was going to happen, because you could hear the gunfires right down the hall. So I don't know if it was like the last chance I had to talk with her, but luckily I'm here.
And you were just listening to a 10th grader at Apalachee High School speaking about his experience today when that gunfire rang out in the school, saying it sounded like a locker being banged shut, and they thought it was a one-off initially until the sound continued, and then they immediately went into those procedures that they practice about how to respond if a shooting happened, running to the back of the classroom, turning off the.
Yeah, guys. I mean, from what we're hearing, the students heard the banging, like the pew pew going off, and then of course they went into the standard protocol that all students in all schools do nowadays. Whenever it has to do with some sort of active monster on the campus, they go into that procedure, right? Just like they're running a fire drill or an earthquake drill or whatever the hell the drills that they do at the school. So they did exactly that, right? Turned off the lights, went to the back of the classroom, and then, of course, just waited for it to be over. But this person was going by door to door, knocking on doors, and just opening fire. This person, okay, whoever this person may be, did some serious damage in a very, very short amount of time. And, of course, it's not only just because of them, but it's also because of what they had in their possession. Let's be real. The weapon that they had in their hands, right? Law Nerd, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Here in the UK, we had one school tragedy in 1996. Gun laws strengthened straight after. Haven't had one since. It's not difficult. Yeah. I mean, you ain't lying, though. You ain't lying. It shouldn't be this difficult. It shouldn't. Okay? It shouldn't, right? But there you have it, right? Mimi, thank you so much for gifting 1 membership. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And for for the one that became a member, all I ask is for you to pay it forward, okay? Mimi just gave you a whole bunch of positivity by gifting you a membership. That's some positivity. And given the fact that we're talking about this too, okay, and we're covering this tragedy, please just do somebody something nice, okay? Open the door for somebody. It's something small, okay? It's the little things that count. All right. Open the door for somebody, buy somebody a drink. I don't know. Call your mama, tell your man or your spouse that they look good today, even if they wore that shirt 3 days in a row. It doesn't matter. Just make that person smile. All right. Pay it forward. That's all I ask. Okay. So thank you so much for the membership. I really do appreciate it, Mimi. Thank you so much for the support. But here it is, guys. I mean, of course, we don't know everything as of yet. Things are still percolating out here in these streets. Trust and believe we will be back on live in about an hour and a half from now. I'll be back on a little bit before the press conference so that if there are any more updates, we can talk about it before we actually check out the press conference. As you can tell, law enforcement's playing a lot of things very close to the vest, which is very, very frustrating. Okay? Very frustrating. But I'm hoping that in time, with the little bit amount of time they have left till their next press conference, we're going to hear something here very soon, right? With some more updates, at least finding out who this person is. We may not know why this assailant did what they did, but I would really like to know who this person is. And of course, I'd really like to know how many people actually are fighting for their lives and how many people actually did lose their lives. This is an absolute tragedy, guys. And this stuff has got to stop. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you on all these platforms. It means the world to me. Okay? Please do me a solid by hitting that like button down below. If you're watching elsewhere, like you guys are right now, hit that like button, hit that reaction button if you're watching it everywhere else. If you are watching on those other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, and the TikTok, please be sure to hit that follow button. Follow. I'll be back on live. I will be live on this again today. Okay, this was an experiment and it looks like it's doing just great. So I'm going to be doing this again today when we see the press conference in about an hour and a half from now. I'll be back on in about an hour and a half from now. Okay, and hopefully we'll get some more information. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're watching on my main channel here. Go over to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips on YouTube. Crush that subscribe button over there as well. Okay, got some videos and clips coming out to you guys today on that channel as well. So please be sure to be on the lookout for that. Okay, we got some many stories and many conversations to have here. All right. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Support the channel. Go check out Patreon. Patreon.com/The Pascal Show. It's right there in the ticker down below. Below on the bottom of the screen. Go check it out. And of course, I got merch, guys. I got really dope merch. Let me show you guys that really quick. I keep forgetting to show that to you guys, but let's take a look. Okay. Got some really cool stuff here. All right. Hoodies, t-shirts. We just put out a whole bunch of t-shirts. We got a line of political t-shirts that are all coming out. Okay. We got Halloween shirts that are slowly trickling out as we speak. All right. We got a bunch of different things. Sayings that I say, okay, some positive shirts, make it make sense, overstimulated, the math ain't mathin', the secret sauce is you, inquisitive mother lover, okay, in these streets. We got a lot of different t-shirts and hoodies and all that for you guys to go and check out and consume. So go check it out. That'd be greatly appreciated. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Stay blessed out there, guys. Keep your head up. All right. Give love to your loved ones. Okay. Which you should already be doing, right? You all should be doing that anyway. All right. But I appreciate you guys. And I'll be talking to you guys very soon. I'll be back in about an hour and a half. Okay. A little bit before 3 p.m. So be on the lookout for it. Okay. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. We'll talk soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.